Oi, boa noite, sejam todos bem-vindos. Nós tivemos uns probleminhas aqui, por isso que eu tive alguma dificuldade para entrar, a gente atrasou um pouquinho. Sejam bem-vindos, eu estou com o Dr. Arjun Pai aqui. Hi, Dr. Arjun Pai, how are you? And thank you for accepting the invitation again.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you very much for having me here.
Yeah, I know your schedule is so busy, so I'm very honored for having you here. I'm going to say in Português. Esse é o Dr. Arjun Pai. Ele é um gigante da astrologia védica, very respected as an astrology, maybe one of the best astrologers in the world. Ele é talvez um dos melhores astrólogos do mundo e aceitou o convite de fazer essa live com a gente. Então eu vou tentar traduzir. Vocês me desculpem se eventualmente eu falhar em alguma coisa. Vamos começar, vamos chamando outras pessoas. A gente vai começar a conversar sobre os básicos da astrologia védica, sobre a importância da astrologia védica e os básicos, as principais diferenças. Vamos falar sobre alguns mantras. É dito que não é possível, não é permitido que a gente cante os Gayatris, por exemplo. Eu vou conversar sobre isso com o Dr. Arjun Pai. A gente vai falar um pouquinho sobre karmas também. Então, entrem, chamem outras pessoas. So thank you once again, Dr. Arjun Pai. Sometimes I might interrupt you to translate to people, but Vedic astrology is not very known in Brazil. We have like a huge percentage of people that accept better the tropical astrology, but maybe because we don't have plenty information of Vedic astrology here in Brazil. So this is why I want to make some basic questions about Vedic astrology. Would you give us an idea, the main difference between those two astrologies?
Okay, Vishnu, Priya, and to all your audience, thank you for having me. It's such an honor to come on this platform and talk about Vedic astrology. Now, if you go back in time, astrology was not mainly used for reading charts as we see it today. Past, it was a science which was for the kings and the royalty, or the royal families. So, astrology was used for making predictions related to when, how will be the crops that year, whether there will be rainfall on time, whether there will be any attack from any enemies, and other things, if there is going to be any revolution inside the kingdom, and general well-being of the people in the kingdom. So that was the way that they used to refer to astrology. It's only in the last...
Okay. Would you mind if excuse me for interrupting you, just not to make this, not to lose any information. Do you mind if I translate now? What you said?
Yeah.
Okay. Ele está dizendo que antigamente a astrologia, em primeiro lugar, a astrologia ela era usada para as famílias reais, né, para prever sobre as colheitas, chuva, os possíveis inimigos. Ela não era da forma que a gente conhece agora, né? Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
But astrology was used for doing predictions. It is called as Jataka, or what we call in India Kundali. That became utilized for people and to read astrology. Now, what's the difference between Jataka-based astrology. Jataka means looking at the stars for an individual. And what is Western astrology? Now, in the form of astrology that we know, in the West, we have seen mostly it is tropical based astrology. Tropical is associated with the movement of the sun, and the movement of the sun creates seasons. So, tropical based astrology was looking at the ecliptic. Ecliptic means the path of the sun. The sun going, in a form, it is going above the equator, it is coming below the equator, and again going. And we have to see the seasons. Okay, and in Vedic based astrology, when you go to Vedic, we combine even the moon and the movement of the moon and the path of the moon. And astrology in the Vedic way, you will see it is not only about the sun, but we also use in Vedic astrology, we also use dashas, which means that is not there in Western astrology. Dashas means the time periods. The Western astrology uses transits. We call it gochar.
Ele está explicando sobre algumas coisas que a gente usa para prever. Eu estou tendo alguns probleminhas, eu gostaria de tirar até esse comentário do Fernando, mas eu não estou conseguindo. Então, me desculpem que eu não estou conseguindo fazer isso do jeito que tem que ser feito. Mas ele está explicando sobre as formas com as quais a gente consegue prever na astrologia védica. A gente usa, por exemplo, na astrologia védica, os dashas. Os dashas são períodos, são grandes períodos que determinado planeta rege, ele tem uma maior regência sobre a nossa vida e sobre tudo que é manifesto também, né? E ele falou também sobre os gocharas. Os gocharas, eles são os tempos que cada planeta percorre num determinado zodíaco. E, de novo, desculpa que eu não sei mexer direito aqui, então eu coloquei um banner que não faz muito sentido, assim, fixou num banner e eu não estou conseguindo mudar. I just explained that I'm having some troubles with the technology here. For example, we have this comment on the bottom of the page, and I don't know how to remove it. So, excuse me once again, Dr. Arjun Pai.
No problem, that's fine. Okay. So, what I'm saying with the Vedic astrology, we look at the motion of the sun as well as the moon, and we see the relationship between the sun and the moon also. And what we call that as Tithi. Tithi means what is the relationship between the sun and the moon. So, in different phases of the moon, and we say there is a Tithi, which means there is this relationship between the universal father, which is the sun, and the universal mother, which is the moon.
Okay.
Then
can I translate this? Excuse me for interrupting you again. Ele está falando que nós usamos também os titis. Os titis são fases lunares que, na verdade, eles significam a relação entre o Sol e a Lua. O Sol como pai universal e a Lua como mãe universal. Então, esses titis, eles definem bastante a personalidade da pessoa. Thank you once again, Arjun Pai.
Then we have Vara, which means the weekday. And we have Nakshatras, which is the constellations.
Exactly.
And we also have two more, which is called Yoga and Karana. This is the whole system of using Vara, which means weekday, Tithi, which means lunar day, and Nakshatra, which is the constellation where the moon is transiting that day, then Karana and Yoga. These are the 5 limbs of Vedic astrology, and we call it Panchanga.
Mhm. Okay. And let me tell you this, I'm a little bit used to those terms because I have the first Panchang channel here in Brazil, which is on Spotify, and I used to analyze each of those things you just mentioned, and I'm going to translate again. Ele está dizendo que nós temos o Panchang. O Panchang é como se fosse um horóscopo hindu diário. Ele são as várias coisas que a gente analisa na astrologia védica. Você tem, por exemplo, os nakshatras, que são as mansões lunares, tem os karanas, tem os titis, como nós acabamos de falar, tem os yogas. Tudo isso compõe o Panchang, que dá para fazer uma análise diária e compõe também o nosso entendimento para análise da astrologia védica, de um mapa védico. Thank you, Dr. Arjun Pai.
So, if you look at Vedic astrology, then we have these, these Panchanga that has to be seen for making analysis. And in the Western astrology, we will use the houses, what we call as bhava. Bhava means emotion or mood. And then we have Rashi, what is the zodiac signs. Then we have the nakshatras, and we have the grahas, which is the planets. So these are the 4 limbs of Vedic astrology. Bhavas, grahas, rashi, and nakshatras. These are the 4 limbs. And
ele está dizendo que as 4... Excuse me again. Ele está dizendo que as 4 camadas, né, que a gente estuda da astrologia védica para compor o entendimento de um determinado mapa são os grahas, que são os planetas, os bhavas, que são as casas, os rashis, que são os signos, e os nakshatras, que são as mansões lunares. Thank you again.
So this in whole with the yogas. Yoga means you're seeing the unions of these planets, and dashas make it complete Vedic astrology with gochar, which means of transits. Okay. Right. You can. Is there any other questions that you have for me, Vishnu, Priya?
Okay, I have plenty. Actually, I wish I could stay here without those technical problems the whole time. Also, I was, you mentioned nakshatras, and nakshatras, we know that we can make predictions, pretty much accurate predictions with using nakshatras. So, is there any specific way you can study only nakshatras, for example? Do you have any course or something like that?
Yes, I am teaching a course this weekend. I'm teaching on Saturday and Sunday. I'm teaching a course which is a crash course on nakshatras. Nakshatras is a very deep science, and that it can be studied on its own. And that is what I will be teaching this weekend before I commence with a full course, which is a 3-month course that I am teaching. In the end of July, I'll be starting an advanced nakshatra course as well. But for all those beginners who are new, they are welcome to join this weekend course that I'm going to teach. Everything that you want to know about the basics of nakshatras is taught in this 2-day course. And then I'll be doing a full course for 9 months, starting from end of July.
Okay. Eu perguntei para ele, a gente falou, ele mencionou, né, que uma das camadas que a gente estuda, um mapa que a gente olha, são os nakshatras. é muito possível você fazer previsões, por exemplo, fazer análise dos mapas só com os nakshatras. Muitas vezes eu uso, para entender exatamente a natureza de um planeta, eu vou no nakshatra para conseguir aprofundar na atuação daquele planeta na vida da pessoa, né? E eu perguntei para ele sobre isso e perguntei se ele tem algum curso específico de nakshatras. Ele disse que sim, que é um curso só de nakshatras para os iniciantes, para aqueles que estão começando, que começa nesse final de semana. Então, é um final de semana inteiro, geralmente é das 11 da manhã até umas 3 da tarde, é o final de semana inteiro, então que você vai ter todos os elementos de Nakshatra, mas depois ele vai fazer um curso já para o Nakshatra avançado, que são 3 meses só estudando sobre Nakshatras. Então, você vê, muitas pessoas acabam estudando pela internet, e você vê, tem que aprofundar muito. São 3 meses estudando um curso. This is incredible, Dr. Arjun Pai, because people, most of the people, they go on Google, for example, and try to learn about nakshatras, when actually you have a course, only one course for 3 months. That means you have to learn a lot so you can make accurate predictions using nakshatras, right?
That's true. It's going to be a 9-month course with it's a trimester. Trimester means every 3 months we'll be doing 9 nakshatras. That's some in depth. The first batch is finishing now. I'm finishing next week, and I'll be finishing with the first batch of who started. I started in October, and now we are completing the first batch. And I'll be starting the second batch in July this year.
Ok. Então, ele disse que é um curso trimestral, na verdade são 9 meses, só de nakshatras, e o curso ele é trimestral, né, e vai até o final do ano. And talking about courses, I remember that I was attending one of your courses, and then you mentioned about mantras, about the Gayatri mantras. So what I see here in Brazil sometimes is that people go on chanting Gayatri mantras. And my Guru Deva, and also on your class, it was mentioned that we cannot chant, for example, Gayatri mantras without receiving that mantra from a spiritual master. Would you explain a little bit? And can I translate before?
Sure. You know, I'm happy to do that. Gayatri. Gayatri is a 24 syllabled meter. It's a poetic meter of 8 syllables each, and there are 3 lines of 8 syllables each. That is called a Gayatri. Gayatri means 8 syllables, 1 line, 8 syllables, next line, 8 syllables. So totally it is 8 into 3, 24. So Gayatri is said to be a very important meter. Likewise, there is other meters as well. You know, there is 32 syllable meter, poetic meter, there is 36, there is 40, there is 44, there is 48. So there are different meters. So Gayatri is the lowest. You see that it is 24 syllables. Now, in India, what happens is Gayatri has to be, we call, not all, there are so many Gayatri mantras. But specifically, when you say Gayatri, people are referring to what is called as Savitri Gayatri. Savitur or Savitri Gayatri. So that mantra is specifically given from a teacher to a student. Like in our lineage.
Can I translate before you continue so they can follow? Okay. Eu estava perguntando para ele, eu fiz alguns cursos com ele, né? Lógico, ele é um dos meus mestres da astrologia, e é por isso que eu fico super ansiosa, assim, na interação com ele. E num dos cursos que eu fiz até recentemente, ele mencionou sobre os Gayatris. E eu disse agora para ele assim, muitas pessoas cantam os Gayatris sem uma tradição, sem conhecer direito. O mantra Gayatri, ele é bem comum. E geralmente as pessoas ouvem porque em algum lugar está escrito que desbloqueia a vida material, qualquer coisa assim, ou porque acha bonitinho e não pode. Os Gayatris, eles não podem ser cantados. Geralmente, um mestre espiritual é que te entrega o Gayatri na tua segunda iniciação e aí você pode cantar. Os Gayatris, ele está dizendo que significa 8 sílabas de 3 linhas. Isso significa Gayatri. E existem muitos Gayatris. Um deles é Savitur, que é dado do... eu acho que foi isso que ele falou, não sei se eu perdi um pouco, do mestre para o aluno. Thank you for waiting, Dr. Arjun Pai.
So, I was initiated into Gayatri by my father. And my father was initiated by his father, which means my grandfather. And my grandfather by his father, and so on. We don't even know for how many generations this Gayatri has been transmitted from father to son and father to son. Okay?
Uhum.
That is the only way you can be initiated into a Gayatri. It's your father or any guru can initiate you into Gayatri.
Uhum.
And that is why that transfer of that mantra was to be done in secrecy. And if you have come to the ritual where I'm initiated into Gayatri mantra, you sit on the lap of your father and he recites the mantra in your ears. And when, so that others cannot hear, there is a blanket or something which is put over both of your heads, and then that is said in secrecy in your ears. Your father gives you the mantra in the ears.
Ok. Ele está explicando que, por exemplo, o Gayatri, ele é dado para o aluno em segredo. Ele é passado de pai para filho, o pai coloca o filho no colo, se cobrem com um cobertor e é dado nos ouvidos. O pai passa para o filho através dos ouvidos. E o que eu sei é que no hinduísmo, eu sou iniciada no Bhakti Yoga e eu recebi o Harinama, por exemplo. Eu ainda não recebi o Gayatri. Então, o que eu ouço dos devotos que já têm o Gayatri, eles cantam em segredo perto do rio. Gayatri não é um mantra que você pode ficar cantando. Dr. Arjun Pai, I used to live in the temple. I'm initiated in Bhakti Yoga. And luck on me that my Guru Deva is Brazilian, so he lives close to me. But I didn't receive the Gayatri. I received only Harinama mantra. But the behavior that I see between the devotees is that they chant this Gayatri mantra by the river in silence. They don't chant out loud. Is that correct? Is this
Yes,
the way it works?
it will not be recited loudly generally, but today everybody on YouTube and internet, it is there, and so people are, you can listen to it, you can recite it, but your pronunciation has to be absolutely correct. And intonation, it's not only pronunciation, it's also intonation. Intonation means how you start reciting, and when you take the mantras high and low, the pitch has to vary. So that is very important. So most of the mantras, when it is recited with just lip movement, okay, or with low sound, they say there's potency is very high. There is a Purana called Agni Puran, which talks about the mantras being very powerful when they are recited in the mind without even the lip movement.
Uhum. Ele está explicando que o Gayatri, por exemplo, ele tem que ser cantado em silêncio, ele tem que ter a entonação certa, as sílabas elas têm que ser cantadas certíssimas. Por isso que muitas vezes eu digo assim para as pessoas que passam em consulta comigo, não canta o Gayatri, para de cantar os mantras. E o que ele vê, por exemplo, no YouTube é que as pessoas realmente elas cantam em voz alta. Não pode, o Gayatri é um mantra que tem que ser cantado em silêncio, na entonação correta, na verdade, as sílabas todas certinhas. Inclusive tem o mantra, eu não sei se eu entendi correto, que ele mencionou os Puranas, do Purana, que você tem que é só cantado pelo movimento dos lábios e tem uma força muito grande quando cantado na mente. Dr. Arjun Pai, I know that this live was not exactly what I planned, and I don't know how your time is, but it's been like 40 minutes already. I had so many things to ask you, but I know your time is short. Is there anything you want to leave for us to become more to become better in Vedic astrology? Anything you would like to leave for us to study or anything besides your courses, of course? And also let us know how people can get in touch with you by email, or is there any other form?
For most of your people in Brazil, if they want to learn Vedic astrology, they can go to my YouTube channel. I've done a lot of videos on nakshatras, but it is in English, and they can probably use the translator so that they can read in Portuguese if they want to. That's one thing. Another thing is people can, contact me on Messenger on Facebook. I am on Facebook, which is Dr. Arjun Pai Astrology.
Mhm.
Also, I am on Instagram, which is Dr. Arjun Pai. You can see my picture there, and and you can add me on Instagram. I'm also on Twitter, which is Dr. Arjun Pai on Twitter. You can go, you can come on Twitter and find me, and also you can send me a message there. Instagram also, you can send me a message, a private message, if you want to join. And if you want to have a consultation or something, same, send me your name, your full email ID, and your location so that I know where are you joining in the course from. So I will send you further details, but the course will be in English.
Uhum. Ok, eu estou perguntando, eu estou dizendo assim para ele, como que ele quer deixar para a gente, né? Ele tem um canal no YouTube que se chama Dr. Arjun Pai. Ele tem uma porção de vídeos, mas todos os vídeos estão em inglês. É possível ainda você colocar a transcrição, a tradução, tem legenda, talvez consiga assistir em português. Mas é um canal muito rico, que fala sobre nakshatras, fala sobre tudo. Para entrar em contato com ele, você pode entrar através do Twitter, pelo Messenger do Facebook, que é Dr. Arjun Pai. Para consultas, ele também tem o canal dele no Instagram, que é Dr. Arjun Pai, tem a fotinho dele, pode falar com ele pelo direct. E eu peço desculpas para vocês que essa live não era exatamente o que eu tinha planejado, mas eu fiquei um pouco nervosa, porque tá tudo travado aqui. E eu não estou conseguindo nem ver quem está comentando, não estou conseguindo ver nada. Dr. Arjun Pai, thank you so much, and excuse me once again for this mess that this live became, and I hope you accept again my invitation to come on a better live with me on YouTube.
Thank you very much for having me. And I do not know how many audience are there. Maybe you should have if there is a Zoom meeting that people can join, and then I can see the faces on the Zoom meeting. So that would be very nice to see how many people are there. But I don't know whether you can do live on Zoom, or we can probably try on Facebook if we can make it live so that more people can join in future. I'll be very happy to come back and share this platform with you. So I'm very grateful for the time that you have given me, and to all of your audiences. Thank you very much.
I thank you. Então, obrigada a todo mundo. Ele agradeceu, ele falou que numa próxima oportunidade a gente pode fazer um encontro pelo Zoom. Dr. Arjun Pai, thank you very, very much. Say hello to Canada for me, and we talk soon.
Thank you,
Vishnu. In Zoom, probably.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. Namaste. Namaste.
Namaste.